Hello everyone and thanks for watching our weather update for Ireland on January 6th, 2023. So we're going to start off with the weather from met.ie for the current conditions and warnings for the next couple of days. And again, we'll be looking at the models on weather.de for the weather for the next couple of weeks. So starting off then, you can see from the radar from met.ie we have rain coming into the west, some quite heavy bursts there on the west coast. Some quite heavy pulses into the south as well. Some rain into the North Midlands and into the northwest as well. But otherwise, nothing much going on. You can see the rain is moving northeastwards as we speak. So soon that will go into the east of the country and into Northern Ireland as well. That could form a score line later on in the evening if you watch this forecast for the rain. You see just a thin line here of heavier rain tracking across the country. That could be a bit of a score line, but more particularly into the Irish Sea, into the early hours of the morning, into Wales as well. And into tomorrow, we see many heavy showers coming in from the Atlantic into the south and west in particular, and then a big band of really quite intense downpours moving into the west tomorrow afternoon, and that will transfer eastwards into the evening. Tomorrow will be quite a chilly day, temperatures around 7 or 8 degrees in the afternoon. Tomorrow night we see showers across the country. Then a more organised band of showers coming into the south of the country, bringing quite a soaking for a time. That goes through into the southeast into Sunday morning. But before long that will clear out into the Irish Sea. And then we're left with another day of sunshine and showers. It could be a bit wintry over hills on Sunday as the wind starts to come in from Greenland a bit. Now we're looking at the warnings for the next few days. So no warnings today. Over tomorrow and Sunday, so for the weekend, we'll be seeing a wind warning for Kerry, Clare, Galway, Mayo and Donegal. Basically all western coasts. Southerly winds veering southwesterly will be very strong and gusty, especially near coast with localized wave overtopping possible. Valid tomorrow at 10 a.m. And it will last until 8 a.m. on Sundays, and it was issued earlier this morning, just before 11 o'clock. So that's our weather for the next couple of days in detail done. So looking at the GFS now, we can see that right now we've got low pressure coming in off the Atlantic for the first weekend of January into tomorrow and Sunday. Get quite a deep low pressure system coming in. Got some very quite vibrant purples and blues there, showing temperatures or pressure at 500 HPA going down to around just under 500 millibars. So that's really quite deep low pressure throughout the atmosphere there. Going through into the early next week, we go a bit colder for a time as the wind goes northwesterly, but that is not long lasted, and we go into westerly spell again midweek. Before we get more low pressure going into the North Sea, and we go briefly colder there into Thursday. But yet again, we get another warm sector from the Atlantic, and we go westerly and mild. Big warm sector coming in on January 14th. Look at those upper air temperatures. These are very mild, possibly even record breaking. You rarely, I don't think I've ever seen the 10 Celsius ice storm coming into Ireland in mid-January. If I zoom in there, you can see 10 Celsius ice storm into the southeast there. There at 6 p.m. on January 14th, and at 12 p.m. on January 14th, there's quite a nice chunk of the 10 Celsius ice storm in the Atlantic. So that is really quite interesting. If we go back to the pressure pattern then. That clears through, that little warm sector clears through, and then we go quite chilly then with a northwesterly airflow into the second half of January. And we keep going, and we stay very zonal. Look at that, nice and zonal. High pressure over the Azores and Spain and Africa, low pressure towards Greenland and Iceland. Pulling in really quite a flat westerly wind there across the Atlantic. So very stormy and unsettled. We go a bit colder there towards January 20th with a northwesterly wind across the country. And really quite cold air coming in from Canada and Greenland actually there. And that'd be enough to give snow showers to parts. And then we get a northerly into January 21st. So we get a nice renewed blast of colder air on January 21st. And then high pressure comes southwards, and we look like we've got another warm sector waiting in the wings in the Atlantic. There we go. That will soon replace that cold sector. So, of course, this is quite a long way off, but it looks a bit colder on this GFS run into mid-January. ECMWF run, then, we can hover and 24-hour intervals. So we go through today and tomorrow and Sunday with low pressure coming in from the Atlantic into the country, bringing quite a battering of rain, wind, and showers, hail, thunder, and lightning possible, a bit of winteriness on hills, as I said. And then going forward, we go westerly, we stay westerly, should I say. Further low pressure off the Atlantic, a bit cooler there for a time. And then, yeah, we stay mild, wet, and Atlantic driven. Look at that big warm sector coming in for January 16th. Not good for cold lovers, has to be said. So, looks like us cold weather lovers have quite a while to wait before we have something decent coming our way. Going through the icon run, then, we can see the low pressure from Greenland coming in again this weekend. Quite a stormy system. That stays around for quite a while before on Monday that will clear off. Then by Tuesday we get a renewed push of westerly winds from the Atlantic. And we stay very westerly towards the end of the icon run, but right at the very end of the run we pull in a northerly wind that will bring us like cold snap. We get the -10 Celsius ice storm into Shetland, which is quite impressive from northerly winds. And then into the UK Met run then, so we're going through again. First weekend in January, tomorrow and Sunday. Very, very wet, windy, stormy possibly for the northwest of the country, with constant bands of showers and rain spiraling around this deep low area of low pressure. Also, look at the size of that thing. It's got isobars into Finland and the Baltic Sea states, into Ukraine and Latvia, all those places. It goes up towards Svalbard, into Greenland, and down into the mid-Atlantic and down into Spain. It's a very, very deep and large area of low pressure. That's very, very cyclonic for a lot of places in Western Europe there. And then you go, that low pressure just fizzles and goes towards Iceland. And then you get a push of westerly winds from the Atlantic. Very, very zonal, that. Low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. Flat as a pancake, westerly winds. Too bad it couldn't be Pancake Tuesday. Going on into the end of the run, we tried to get it colder, but that will probably fail because we got another warm sector coming in from the southwest. So that'll just be a brief colder sector there. Our Pedge run then. This is a French run. Into tomorrow and Sunday. Low pressure coming in off the Atlantic, bringing us quite a battering of rain, wind, and showers. That clears through into Monday. Tries to turn colder, doesn't work. And keep it westerly and mild and Atlantic driven. As you can see, we're nice and mild from the upper air temperatures. It's all a battle between mild and cold, really, but the mild always wins out. Well, most of the time. And then finally, we have the GM run. So we're going through and we keep the low pressure off the Atlantic this weekend. Very, very stormy low. And then we go westerly again. And we just stay westerly the rest of the run. It's just the same thing on all 6 runs. Yeah, nothing to be writing home about. Except for possibly this low pressure on January 15th. You see, we've got, as I said before, these low pressures come up often on the models, but often closer to the time, they get rid of the low pressures. They say, oh, it won't actually happen now. So, yeah, goodbye low. But normally, these low pressures will be shifted further northwards on the models. Probably just an outlier, but this is probably showing a snow event for England, Wales, and possibly parts of Southern Ireland. As we've got the 5 Celsius ice storm just into the very far southwest of England, while the -5 Celsius ice storm is into Northern Ireland, northern parts of the Republic of Ireland, and into Scotland and Northern England. And that big temperature contrast of about 10 degrees or more over just like 200 miles will be fueling that low pressure system. And if you put the precipitation on and zoom in to the UK, you can see very nicely that this is where we've got the wodge of precipitation. But if we put on the 2 meter temperatures, you can see, yes, we're on the verge of very, very mild air into the far southwest of England, 13 degrees off the coast of southwest England, 8, 9, 10 degrees into the southwest of England, 5 degrees into northern parts of the southwest of England, if that makes sense. And then you go into the M4 corridor and it's 3 or 4 degrees, but north of that you're at 1 or 2, and over Ireland you're at 1 degree in the southeast, below freezing inland, and any of the stuff that's falling north of this line, that's over land, will be falling as snow. And we go through into 6 a.m. on January 15th. Unfortunately, this moves eastwards, but let's just take a look at what the temperatures are like. Yeah, so in this section here, where I'm indicating with a mouse in this circle, there will be snow. And just for fun, we can look at the snow depth, and we do see a bit of a covering for a time over England, but that doesn't last long. Wait a minute, what's happening there? Huh, I should have gone forward with the pressure pattern. That looks really quite stormy and cold. You can see easterly winds coming in. That would be quite a snowmaker for some, if we're lucky. So these are just things we have to look for. These southerly tracking low pressure systems that have a cold northern side to them. And if that just works out nicely, then you get a snow event. It's similar to the December 2017 snow event. Well, for me, it was a rain event, and that makes it even more memorable because of the jealousy that came with it. Because where I was, I think I was very close to the snow, but it just wasn't quite cold enough, about a degree too mild for it. And 30 kilometers to my northwest, there was snow. So that really, really put quite a bit of disappointment and a bit of envy into me. You know, that sort of feeling. And that was all because of a southerly tracking low that brought snow to large parts of Ireland and the UK, but just unfortunately, I happened to be a bit too far south to get the snow. But these are sort of things that we have to watch out for if they start coming up on the models more frequently and more into the reliable time frame, which is about 5 days in advance of the event. So that's it for today's weather. I'll be back tomorrow with another update like this, and we'll either have a look at the stratosphere again, or we'll have a look at the GFS, ECMWF, GEM, and ICON ensembles on the graph. If we look at the ensembles, I'll explain them for you. It's either, well, here's the plan, right? We're going to be looking at ensembles either tomorrow or Sunday, and stratosphere tomorrow or Sunday, so they're going to be coming up over the weekend anyway. But just when we're doing ensembles, it might look a bit tricky to start off with, but I'll explain them, is what I'm saying. So, hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you tomorrow for more updates. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.